Perfect. Perfect.
Well, hello and welcome everyone. We are at Lead Aspect F1 25. Getting ready for the beginning of round 2 here. Practice 1 here in China. The session will start here shortly. As we get ready to get into the session here, just want to remind everybody of our calendar. We are on round 2 here in Shanghai, China. I'm going to try something real fast. As there is our calendar going forward. So next week will be Japan, then Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and then start making the tour around a little bit before we get into the European section after round 9 and into round 10. And then we'll finish up with some more America stuff at the end. So pretty much the same as F1 is actually doing. So as drivers are just getting ready to get out there on track. Most people on hards and mediums, it looks like. As again, we see the track map there. This is what it looks like. Sector 1 from the little 1, 2 in the red here. 2, 3, and 4, that's a funny spot. Then down 5 through 6, and then make your way through Sector 2. And then a long black straight of Sector 3, and then back to the start-finish straight. So plenty of overtaking zones there as well. Sorry, that graphic did not look very good. But before we get into it, let's go ahead and check out some driver lineups. Some things have shifted. There were some transfers made during the week. So you see a couple of different drivers there than last week, but that's what we're looking at as of right now. And then, of course, we are on week 2, so that means we've already had a week 1. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Australian results here. The winner being ONB Alberto in the V-Carb. V-Carb's finished a 1-2 with Frigate bringing up 3rd, Legion in 4th, and Joe Animator in 5th. I think there might have been a switch there with a penalty that was not assessed during the race. So our fastest lap in Melbourne was Young Lights with a 118 flat, pretty much. Of course, it was ONB Alberto as the winner there. And take a look at your top 3. ONB Alberto on the highest rung of the podium there. Then Marcos Almeida was teammate in 2nd, and the McLaren driver of Frigate 3360 ended up on the bottom rung of the podium. So that brings us to our driver standings, where ONB Alberto with 25 points, his teammate Marcos Almeida right behind him on 18. And then as far as the constructors are concerned, with the 1-2 finish, the V-Carbs come out to a commanding lead. Ferrari still within striking distance, of course, so nothing is settled, especially only after week 1 of the championships here. As we're starting to see some cars getting out there on track, 16 drivers out here today. Some drivers are reserved, so you may see a few different names out there. and also some familiar faces. So OMB Alberto is in here as well. Marcos Almeida, the winners, Harrison Barnes, and the Kick Sauber. Look out for him. And all sorts of fast drivers, but new names, of course, as every team has reserves and junior drivers and whatever you might want to call it. So that's what we're looking out for today. Interesting session, as this is the only practice session we're going to have here around China. Is in an hour after this, we're going to get straight into sprint qualifying, as it is our first sprint race weekend on the calendar. Of course, it'll only be in week 2. Eiling's piece is set the first time on a set of mediums with a 137.5. Poison Harbor in the Alpine. I don't know if that was really a fast lap, as I see plenty of charge here. As times are starting to come in, we'll check out the tire detail here just to make sure everybody's trying to be. So the 2 mediums, Olmedo on the Marcos there on the hard compounds was able to put in a lap. And we'll stay on board with Aaron Gibbo here, who goes third fastest with a 140 flat. Everybody else is on outlabs or in the pits. We'll pick it up with Harrison and take us around China as you head down into 1 and 2, which is a mini lines can be taken in there. And then depending on where you are, that apex of 3 and 4 are amazing as well. Definitely chances for overtaking as we make our way down 5 and 6 here. Heavy braking zone and difficult traction coming out. And then we make our way through the fast section. In the all-famous turn 13, leading onto this long back straight, which should lead us into great overtaking into 14. And slides it in there. The hard compound tires looks like a pretty good lap there. That's a 1:34.3. I don't know why it didn't count. Oh, there was an invalidation somewhere. I missed it. Okay, way off into turn 1. Young Lights cross the line. Is he going to put in a time? .37.124 for Young Lights there. And just looking back at some drivers are still in the pits. Outlap for Alberto. Invalidations. But that is an improvement from Eiling's, of course, on the medium compounds to do a 136. And Lights pushing on. I think that's frozen. Let's move up to a 140 flat, 140.3. Alex might be on a lap here. X-Joe might be on a lap. In the Williams. As you see, Young Light stood at a 135.513. Of course, the whole time, this track will improve and get better and better and better throughout the practice session. But again, because it is the first weekend of us having a sprint race, something happened to Suk there. He was disqualified from the session, unfortunate. We only have this one practice session, of course. Sorry, I lost my train of thought after I saw that. I wanted to see if I could find something out, but did not. So only one practice session here for the first sprint weekend. As X-Joe does cross the line with a 136.156, putting him fourth fastest. Of course, pretty much everybody out there on medium and hard tires, and just trying to put in some laps. There's still a few drivers out on the pits. We'll pick it up with ONB Alberto, who still is on a good lap, I do believe. And as we see some other drivers putting in times finally. Harrison got in a 142.754. We'll get Alberto crossing the line in fifth with a 136.225. Pick up an MDJ here through 3 and 4. So stay tuned, because we're going to have sprint qualifying a little bit later today, and then tomorrow we'll have the sprint race. And then we will have feature race, or Grand Prix qualifying. Then of course on Saturday we will have the Grand Prix here at China. So testing a little bit funny. I expect to see about 10-15 minutes left. A lot of drivers putting on those softs and running quali sims. There's a great look through turn 13 there. And of course, very long DRS straight. Very tricky track. I think strategy will be key in both races. The sprint and the main Grand Prix, is Harrison Holmes in the Sauber to the 134.291. I'll check what's set, but then a little wide out of turn 16 there before the straight invalidated that lap, and then will invalidate the next one. So keep an eye on that because I expect to see a lot of disqualifications in qualifying where people will walk great laps and just come a little bit wide out of the final turn, and it invalidates not only the lap that they were just all doing, but the next one as well. So we hope to not see too much of that. As drivers are just utilizing this session, still a lot of drivers in the pits. As that fastest lap does go to Harrison, we saw Young Legs about to cross the line. That was not a hot lap, I don't think. A push lap. As it is Harrison Holmes, 134.291 on the hard compound tires, that is fastest. But you don't know how much fuel anybody has in their car, what kind of strategy they're running. Are they just going for a long term, get laps in? Alright, moves out of the way. I mean, different lines you can take through turn 1 and 2 there. Power out of 3 and 4. Little right-hander of 5. Heavy braking zone down the hill into turn 6. Interesting traction zone again. 7, 8. And slow down for 9. Pretty cool left-handers of 9 and 10 there. In a tight 11, careful not to invalidate that. Turn 12 and then turn 13 are both kind of the same one big turn. Do this long back straight. We'll see excess of 200 miles an hour, of course. $37,702 on the mediums. Closing across the line with 145.13. Pretty much just putting in laps, it looks like. Well, take a look at the Ferrari here of Francis Kotek. I'll just say Kotek. Frantise. Yeah, I think somebody moved up and put in a good time. Looks like Alberto is done a 134.180. If I'm proper here, Kotek here might have the fastest first sector. Two, 9 and 10. Second sector was not the fastest. Unless it was Marcos Olmedo behind him that's setting those laps. Might be a little far away up in front for a really good slipstream there. But one of those could make a huge difference in these times, especially in qualifying. Which I am really looking forward to. 2 qualifying sessions. A 139.479 on the mediums. Check out Edvin Nosland. Edvin. Hard compounds in the McLaren. Around 9 and 10 now. Might have an Alpine to contend with behind. Not sure if that's Young Lights or Poison Harbor. We did see Vader join. Suk and got disqualified. Bovril, I believe, is left and come back. Hopefully is out there. I have to check in on the kick solvers. I see one on track. Says it's got to be Seth Bovary, who did just set a time of 136.3 on those mediums. As Edmund will cross the line with a 135.450 on the hards. So rather quick there. And we've got Vader finally out there on an outlap. Trying to warm those hards up on an outlap. Yeah, just coming out of the pits on those, you're not going to have much rear traction. Let's just check out everyone's tire compound. Now this Rigo and the Aston Martin already putting on a set of softs. I don't even know if this is a fast lap. Don't think so. As top 3 in the pits, usual suspects of the V-Carbs and Harrison up there, of course. Young Lights, Extro, iLinks looking to put in some better laps here. Already iLinks looks like he's putting on a set of softs. Harrison coming out on a set of mediums, possibly, as I believe Young Light's just out there putting in laps. Let's go ahead and give him some screen time, as he's the one that puts this all together and keeps us all straight, and is the man behind the curtains when it comes to a lead aspect. Who had a good performance in Australia, got some decent points. Everybody that hasn't put in a lap yet is on an out lap, on hards, mediums, and hards, respectively. Got Alberto and Harrison both coming out on mediums. There's guys that are running 8 laps, 10 laps. That's kind of what I was thinking. Run 10 laps on the hards, 10 laps on the medium. And then put on some softs and give it a go. Just to get your tire wear. How much do they wear over 10 laps? How much, you know, because that's probably the easiest to mathematically figure out how it's going to do over 15, 20, 25, etc. Yeah, Poison Harbor really just putting in laps. So is Young Lights. You got Lynx on Sauce on outlap. Alberto Harrison outlaps. And it looks like still a few drivers. I think we'll let Alberto take this one away on the mediums. I'm just gonna step away for 1 second. As you know, done 20 minutes, so let's see what guys are doing here in the middle part of the practice session, and then yeah, we'll have some action, of course, once everybody puts on the set of sauce with about 20 to 15 minutes left and gets those qualifying runs in. Alright, we are back live as OMB Alberto. So second fastest on the mediums. Just behind Harrison, who previously on the lap before set that 133 flat on the mediums, of course. And Lynx is about to start a lap. Light's still on the hards. Everybody's put in a time. And I think drivers are still getting a feel for the circuit because we're not in crunch time yet. Only still 30 minutes to go, which is a lot. A couple drivers are electing for the softs now. And of course that is because this is our first sprint weekend. So 2 qualifying sessions. So getting qualifying with the soft tires and figuring them out is also important. As we see a variety of different tire compounds out there with some of these drivers on different strategies going forward with Poison Harbor, 12 lap old mediums, Young Likes 13 lap old hards, and some drivers just now coming out of the pits on a set of hards. So very interesting tire combinations we see there. As we see the 2 Aston Martins running 12th and 9th at the moment. Be interesting to see those strategies. Possibly see MDJ on a lap. As he navigate into turn 1 and 2. Get the car slowed down. Yeah, it's an interesting apex. Down into 3 and 4. Set up for 6. Pretty tidy through there. On the soft, 7 might be flat out, depending on how much fuel you have in the car. Definitely downshift for 8. The left-handers of 9 and 10 decided to go straight on. Unfortunate, but yeah, that's a difficult section through there. Checking on Marcos Olmedo. Starting turn 13 now. Backs out of it. Okay. Burn as much of that as you can, but maybe not. DJ should be starting another lap on the softs. However, they are a little bit old. Let's see who else we got. Remus. Oh, this lap is invalidated. Coming into the pit. Okay. Bundy and the other Williams has joined us. Harrison on an out lap. Middle on the medium. Doesn't look to be burning energy. Setting up for a lap from Edmund here. Now shift into 1. Can you get it slowed down? Get in turn 2. Different lines through there can be taken. Varian's still stepping out a little bit. 2.5 tenths up on their fastest. I was hearing low to mid 132s for fastest times. Made up another 2.5. Now half a second. Improvement so far. I'd love to get a little slipstream here. Lots of traffic ahead. Pick your braking zone, get it slowed down, get it turned in. And don't overdo it here. Very nice. It's Harrison Holmes did a 132.419. Edvin Naslin moves up with a 133.266. No battery left there. Haasland, Frozen here is doing in the Haas. Get it down in the 9. Try to accelerate through turn 10, but going off too far. If you slow down, it won't invalidate. But you'll definitely lose a little bit of time. Salva right behind him. This could be fun. Side by side. Going into 14. I don't think Harrison's on a real push lap here. Maybe coming into the pits, yes. Young Lights has put on a set of mediums. It is improving. On his best lap on the hards, of course, so. Turns into 11, 12. Once that rear end feels stable, power through 13. Seventh, eighth gear, open that battery, open the DRS, excess of 200 miles an hour, pick your braking spot, get her slowed down, turn her in, get out of there. And set up. Tricky final. They would keep it in and didn't cut the corner. Could be a pretty good lap. Moves up to 4th on the mediums. So good lap there from Young Lights. As we've got the two V-carbs both on out laps. Extra still on the hards. Coming into the pits now. But did set a pretty good time there, but 136.7. Moving up. Still in 7th. Pick up a Kotek here in the Ferrari, down in 12, put on a set of soft. That battery is so important, especially in 8th gear. To try to save a little bit there at the end. That's an improvement up to 10. The Mercedes, an MTU. That's a little bit of a slipstream in front. And we know a fast V-carb. something at the top did just change. There's so many drivers that just went across the line. Might have been Harrison, but it says he's on an outlap, so... I know more with MTU here. He's just trailing. That's a very good lap going. Car gets out of the way. Hopefully he sees the second car. Get that battery going. I want to get a little bit of a slipstream here. Nice up to third gear there. Not a great exit out of 16, but does set a 134.7. As it's checking on everybody's tire compounds. Okay, so it looks like a lot of guys are out there now trying to set quality laps, so we need to pay attention. Edvin might be one of them in the McLaren with a 133.266 already. Harrison with that 132.419. $132.672 stays second, but does improve. Good lap there. We'll check in on OMB Alberto, just finishing up the second sector. Has now done the fastest second sector. A little bit of a wiggle there. Oh, and around the rear end comes. Should be okay there. Be able to get back on track. I don't think Marcos is on a lap. Harrison's on a lap and is 2/10 up. Skies are darkening here in China. 20 minutes to go here in pre-practice 1. Was able to run wide and slow down a little bit. 132.391. That's interesting. That one didn't invalidate. Lots of drivers coming into the pits. MTU looking to improve in the Mercedes on a 134.7. Was about half a tenth up there in the first sector. Downshifts there. That was very nice there. Burn a little energy before we head into 11. Oh, lost the rear end coming out of 14 there. Comes into the pits instead. Alright, so lots of drivers in the pits at the moment. Couple drivers on outlaps, so we'll stick with Young Lights for just a couple minutes here as he makes his way out and is going to put on a fast lap, I'm certain, instead of qualifying simulation. Alright, welcome back. Elite Aspect F1 25. We are here. With about 15 minutes left to go in our practice session. We'll go ahead and look. We are round 2 here in China. We'll move to Japan and then Bahrain in the coming weeks. As I believe we are now in a nice section of pre-practice where a lot of drivers will put on soft compounds and throw in some quali sims. So we'll keep an eye on that. As we will congratulate last week's winner, ONB Alberto, in the V-Carb. And of course, we'll congratulate the top 3, especially the V-Carbs there, finishing 1-2 with Frigate 3360 in the McLaren. Not featured today here in our practice session. There are the complete results from Australia. As we are in round 2 here, Elite Aspect F1 25. China Shanghai circuit. Very fun circuit. I'm glad it's back on the calendar. Hopefully 2026 it will see some really good racing. But here in round 2, this is the first sprint weekend that we're doing here in Elite Aspect around China. So interesting sessions going on here, as this is just a practice session, the only practice session. And then we will have sprint qualifying coming up just an hour after this. See some of the top drivers. Fastest first lap, half a 10, so not much of an improvement, but we'll see. There is some rain sprinkles possible here right at the end. As we're right on board here with Harrison, who's already set the fastest time. Making his way through the middle sector here of 9 and 10. Very nice through there. Not the best second sector. And almost 2/10 is going to be hard to make up. That's a little bit improves with a 132.3. He's 2 seconds up on his first sector. There we go. On the softs, TRT Marcos Almeida. Faster in his first sector. I hope we don't start seeing sprinkles here. I think I did see 1 or 2, which is going to change this track dramatically. I'm not thinking we're going to see any faster times than what TRT Marcos can do here, because this track is going to get a little slippery. Might have already actually compromised TRT Marcos Almeida. His time here does improve to the 132.634. But I think with the rain incoming, I think we're going to see a lot of retirements now. Anybody on a lap is probably going to finish them out. But yeah, with a little bit of rain incoming, I don't think... Oh yeah, it's starting to get slick out there. There's really... Is there enough time left to put on a set of intermediates and at least give it a go in case there is rain in the race? Hopefully we see some of that strategy. Doesn't look like it. Some drivers are in the pits, maybe judging this, to at least get a little bit of practice under some slicker conditions and give the intermediates a run. You see lots of drivers into the pits, lots of drivers have retired. We have no idea what's in store for us in the qualifying session, what the weather's going to look like there. Of course, this is the only practice session we have. We'll have a sprint qualifying coming up, and then tomorrow we'll do our sprint race, and then we will have our Grand Prix qualifying. Still 7 minutes left here in practice. Still nobody changing, but the track is too slick to run slicks and get proper results. I see Vader coming out of the pits on a set of mediums. Lima's still out there on a set of mediums. He's probably coming into the pits. Berto's on an outlap on softs. It's been decided to take out a set of hards. Unless they know it's drying up, possibly. Quickly. And that is possible. Looks to still be raining. You see the nice somewhat drops on the windshield are starting to get more and more and more. I would think, yeah, it's time to... No, let's continue on. Harrison and Frozen both put on a set of intermediates. It is raining, and Berto here is already quarter second off. See where he is after the second sector here. So 6/10, so see how the intermediate tires are faring here with Harrison. The time is not going to get better, that's for sure. Need to find out how much slower they actually are in these conditions. But always worth it. Get as much data as you can. With Frozen here on a set of intermediates. 3 minutes left here in practice 1 for Elite Aspect F125. And again, in just a little bit, we'll have a sprint race qualifying session. So this one practice session, as we've seen, a lot of drivers sitting in the pits. A lot of drivers have already retired and didn't care to partake in a little rainy bit of a session. Bowry's going to cross the line. The 135.278. It's 2 seconds off their time. Straight into the pits. The intermediates, Frozen is almost 4 seconds off their time. It never hurts to at least get a running, get a feel for it. Gain some muscle memory. There's very few drivers left out there. I think in conditions like this, the soft compound tires, the DRS is still enabled. As Remus will improve here. 138.254, but it's still slick out there, so. Losing the only real driver out on track. No. Silver is still out there. Hadn't been on the hards. Able to maintain the grip there. This isn't going to be a terrible time on the hard compound tires under the conditions. Maybe coming into the pits, not quite sure. Only Frozen and Remus are left out there. This session will come to an end as soon as these three cross the line. Frozen struggling. Remus went a little deep there, but still on softs. That's fun. Alright, well that's going to do it for Elite Aspect F125 free practice here around China for round 2 of the season. As we sign off. Australia down in China this weekend for a sprint race weekend. So we'll come at you live with sprint qualifying here in another hour or so. Or at least another hour. As you see, the V-Carbs are very, very strong last week in Australia and are leading the constructors. With ONB Alberto taking the win. And we'll see that rivalry of Alberto and Marcos as we progress through the season. But that's going to do it for free practice 1 here. The only practice session here in China for round 2 of Elite Aspect F125. I'll see you guys in just a little bit for our qualifying session for the sprint race coming up tomorrow. Appreciate everybody watching and stay tuned. We'll be right back.